Hi, hello, I'm Dr. Laura Nasi. I'm an integrative oncologist and I'm also an astrologer. And in this season, Astrology and Health, I like to share with you what I've been experiencing, what I've been researching over the past 10 years in my consultations about how astrology can bring a wisdom that enables us to see the human being as a complex being, not only with a body and a mind, but also with emotions and a social component, which enables us to see how one can live in a more healthy way according to who we are, or on the contrary, can get sick from living a life that it's not genuine for us. So astrology and health might seem like two different worlds, and why try to unite them? So a few things that come to mind that you might resonate with, and one is I had an excellent workshop once with Fritjof Capra. Fritjof Capra is a scientist, a physicist, and an author. I'm not sure if you know of him. He wrote an excellent book which was The Tao of Physics. It was one of the first books that explained how Oriental mysticism and quantum physics had a lot in common. So he started sharing these wisdoms from East and West and how they come together in many of their postulates. And he also wrote several other books like The Web of Life, which is excellent as well. And his latest book is The Systems Way of Life, which I cherish much. And in this book, he explains again, I say again because I had heard him in a workshop, but also in this book he explains how biology has been evolving through time from a more mechanistic way of looking at biology and thus medicine to a more holistic view. What it means is that there were periods in the evolution of science and medicine where we were looking very much at the details of the cells and how they worked, and then we went into a more romantic phase in the sense of putting more also the feelings and the senses and the arts together with medicine. And for me, this so he describes this evolution in a pendular way, and he describes how after a mechanistic period, the pendulum goes back to a holistic way of looking at biology and science. And for me, this is very graphic, and I really feel that we're going from a very mechanistic period. We went with technology, we were able to learn the most infinite details about the cells now with molecular biology, and we can not only say what's the name of, for example, in a cancer, what's the name of the disease, but as I say, it's like we can describe each type of cancer with their first name, their last name, and all their family names that come behind. So it's like with these details of markers and that we can obtain through pathology and molecular biology, we were able to understand the differences between different cancer cells, while they may appear the same at the microscope, but how they are different in their molecular markers. So this is a mechanistic view in the sense of we were able to see the body as a machine, and this is what the mechanistic paradigm says. It's seeing things as a machine and then dividing them into smaller parts and being able to describe the smallest part of the whole, and thinking that then we can put them all together. So in medicine, we were able to see the very details, and now we're able to understand the very details of not only the cancer cells, but obviously of all our cells and how they reproduce and how the substances they produce and the chemical actions within each cell. But it's much harder for us to understand how everything is coordinated at the same time in a human being that is living a life and thinking about something else. So this putting all together, it's very much difficult with this mechanistic view, because clearly we're not machines and we cannot be divided into parts. We are a multidimensional being with a body, but also with other dimensions, our mental dimension, our cognitive dimension, our emotional dimension, our social dimension, and our spiritual dimension. And all these different dimensions in us are interacting all the time. So, for example, if I'm caught by some preoccupation, by some worry, and I have this thought that keeps coming back in my mind, and because of that I cannot sleep well, then the next morning I might be tired and irritable and have problems interacting with others, and that might make me want to binge on sweets, and then I gain some weight, and then I feel bad with myself. And so you can see how all the different dimensions are interacting, each one with another. It may start with just a thought, but it might affect my habits, and then my body, and then my relationships, and my self-esteem, and the way I conduct myself with others. So everything is connected. We cannot separate one thing from another. So in this sense, I really believe that we are coming back from a very mechanistic way of looking at life, and coming back to a more holistic view of medicine. And holistic means that apart from the more technical wisdom from medicine, we're starting to understand that art can also add to our treatments, like when we use music therapy or dance therapy, for example, or any type of expressions, and how these tools may be also medications for us, can also alleviate our pains, and can also help us in regain our health. So we start seeing that the border between medicine and art becomes a little bit more fuzzy, that it's not two separate disciplines. And in the same way, obviously, how psychology, but also a lot of the mind-body work that is being developed, and there's wonderful techniques being proposed in different parts of the world, like somatic experience, like bioenergetics, like there's many approaches into treating our psychological issues or our emotional issues more from a mind-body approach. So that also comes as one of the tools that we can use in medicine as a therapy. So again, there's not the division or the limit between medicine and psychology or body work starts getting fuzzy again. And in that sense, I propose also that astrology is one of the disciplines that can bring a lot of wisdom and can interact in medicine and bring a lot of a framework to understand what's the context of that person, like not looking only at the disease like many times medicine does, because it focuses, Western medicine focuses on disease, but also looking at the whole person and how that person is living and how that person is behaving inside, how he or she, how her or his thoughts work inside, or how he or she deals with emotions. So in this way, I think that astrology and the reading of the astrological chart, reading it in more from a humanistic astrology perspective or an evolutionary astrology. I'm not talking about predictive astrology, about trying to say from the chart what is going to happen with a person, because I don't believe that all the clues are in the chart. The chart can give us some idea of what's the climate that will come for that person let's say in the year, whether it be a year with challenges or so it's like if it's going to rain or it's going to be a cloudy year, but whatever that person does with that in that climate, it depends on the person. So there's some part of free will that will also affect what's going to happen or what experiences that person will have to live during that year. So in that sense, it cannot be completely predictable. When one can say, okay, this year you may have a sense of, or you may have challenges of some type, but then what that person does with the challenges, it depends on the person. So whatever happens, it's not only depending on what is read in the chart, but also how this person decides to live these experiences. So again, looking at astrology more from a humanistic, a psychological, an evolutionary a tool, then we can understand the energetic blueprint of one person. And by energetic, I mean how is that person constituted? Is it more of an earthy person? Is it more of a fiery person? Is it more of a mental, airy person? And I will be talking about these and sharing with you what I've been writing for my upcoming book, Let the Stars Guide You Back to Health. I will be talking about this different element composition and how it might affect us. And how it's important that you understand our element composition to live a life that it's according to who we are. So in that sense, and because we're closing a year of, a month of a moon in Aries. If you remember, 3 weeks ago, we got together and I proposed to start thinking about the months according to what's the melody of the month. And this month that it's closing, the 11th of May, and I'm referring to the lunar month, the lunar calendar. So every 4 weeks we have a new moon, and the last new moon was in Aries, which gives us all this month to think about Aries and all its facets. And we talked about the Aries being the archetype of the vital force within us, and we talked about our own wish and our desires, and we talked about, or we mentioned briefly about the warrior archetype that is related to Aries, and the ruler of Aries, which is Mars, which according to the Greek and the Roman traditions, it's Mars or Aries, both are the archetype of the warrior. And in this sense, I want to close this month before the next week. We'll talk about the next new moon in Taurus, so we'll have a whole month to talk about Taurus. But closing this month of Aries, thinking about the energy of Aries, I wanted to bring to you something that I've written for my new book. And it's about relating to this, connecting to this warrior inside and connecting to expressing our wishes and our desires, and how it is important for health. Because what I find, one of the characteristics I find in people that get sick, one of the characteristics that may be present is people that are overadapting all the time to circumstances. So people that are not expressing their wish, are not connecting to their own desires, and people that are always pleasing others, this type of people pleasers, that they're fantastic to be with because they're always pleasing you, and they're always making your life easier, and always there for you if you need them, and always helping others, but always putting their own desires behind. And this is why I connected to this month, because it's so important that we really connect to our own desires and express them. And this is Aries energy, to express our wish, to express our desire, to go for, to come out and go forward for what we wish. And so people that repress this wish and that always put everybody else's wish before themselves, they may look from the outside like they are living a very nice life and a very well socially adjusted life, but inside they are not happy, and they may even get sick from this, in the sense that they may get exhausted pleasing others, taking care of others, doing things for others, and not taking care of their own needs. So this is an important part. So how I describe these people in my book, it's people that adapt easily to every situations. Plans change and they adapt easily, and that is a good quality. The problem is when we're doing that all the time and we're never expressing what we need. So over-adapted people are people that adapt easily, that are people pleasers. We see them as many times we can see them as or they are thought of being good students or good kids, because they are very proper. They do everything as their parents and teachers and everybody wants, and they never rebel or they never express what their own wishes are. So they may be very comfortable to live with. They look like a nice person, they're reliable. But if you ask them what are your needs or what are your desires, sometimes it's difficult for them to say, oh, this is what I want or this is what I need. So if while I'm talking, you're sensing that you may have some of these characteristics, you may be someone who's adapting a little bit too much for others, think about it. Think whether this is being healthy for you or not. Nowadays, we are living in the Western world. We are living in this very demanding society. So we are in the midst of demands from every type. Not only work demands, but family demands, emotional demands, demands from society to look and feel like everybody else, or to have this and that, this car and that house, or whatever. It's all demands. So if we live just satisfying all these demands, especially if we are in a society where we are demanding to, it's a very, very much into having and owning, and so we may be like striving to earn more, to buy more, and to be more like everybody else. This might be very strenuous inside, might be very demanding inside, and that creates a chemistry of stress inside, and that's not a healthy sensation or a healthy chemistry inside of us. So it's even more important nowadays, when we have not only the normal demands, but we have the extra demands. And these times that we're living with this global pandemic, and everybody has some relative or person, acquaintance, or someone that we know that had got sick or it's needing a little bit more help. So it's very easy to fall into being there for others. And I'm not saying it's a bad predisposition. I think it's actually a very nice and loving thing to be of service of others. But also think about yourself. Think about, in order to be there for others, think about what you need. You need also a good night sleep. You also need to have a good time to nourish yourself, some time to relax, do nothing, or do some hobby that you like doing. So it's very honorable to be there for others, but think about also what you need, what your needs are, and be aware of also being able to say no whenever you are not available for, or you're not in the mood for, or for an invitation or something that they ask you to do. So what I propose also in my book, that if you feel that this type of over-adapted resonates with you, and you feel Like you may be one of those people that it's always adapting and not honoring their own needs and their own wishes. So some of the tips to start learning is precisely to learn how to say no, learn how to say, I'm sorry, I'm not available for this, or I'm not, this is not the time for me to be there. I'm needing something else. I'm needing to be at home and to be resting, or I'm needing to go for a quiet walk, or cherish and honor your own needs. So learn how to say no without regret, without feeling guilty, just honoring yourself. Learn how to set healthy limits. So for other people's demands and expectations, again, saying no or saying you're not available. Make a list of what you really enjoy and what really lights up that vital spark within you, what keeps you alive, what keeps you ignited. So if it's dancing or chanting or going for a walk or going to nature, just do more of that. Put that in your agenda. Don't forget to honor those moments, those practices that really ignite you, that connect you to who you are, that allow you to express and to irradiate that fire you have inside, that flame of yours that you are. So again, review your agenda and your schedule and insert more of these joyful experiences in your daily life. And keep time for yourself in your schedule for yourself, and keep free time. It's we're living a very demanding period, and it's important that we also keep flexible, so that we don't put too many things in the agenda, that we feel flexible and free enough in order to change plans if things go in a way we were not predicting, or we have some news or something we were not planning, unplanned situations. So in order to avoid further stress, because if we have a very tight agenda, then it's very difficult to be free and change plans. So just keep only the important parts in your agenda, and then keep your agenda quite flexible and free to be able to adapt to whatever comes. And engage in some creative activity, some activity that allows you to express yourself, to irradiate that essence that you are. So writing or chanting or dancing or painting or drawing, all expressive activities are very important, especially in the times that we are living. Under a lot of stress, we tend to get more automated and just do and check our checklist. So allow yourself to have more of these creative and free time, expressive time. And of course, it's always very helpful to work with someone to help you start identifying when you are over-adapting, or when you are really getting out of your way for other people's needs and not cherishing yours. Sometimes to be able to talk to someone who can coach you to start doing these small changes in your life might help you to get away from this over-adaptive type of life, and more into a more genuine life, more something that it's more authentic, more healthy and happier for you. So this is what I wanted to share with you in this month of the new moon in Aries, to connect to that internal desire, to that your wish, your desire, your needs, and be able to honor them, to leave space for them, and to also ponder them when you are expected to be somewhere else or expected to do something. to also prioritize your needs and your wishes. And it's a very honorable way to be of service of others, but don't forget about yourself. Please don't forget about yourself. It's very important that you honor and you love yourself. So with this, I would like to say goodbye, and we will see each other next week with a new moon in Taurus, and we'll be talking about this new energy. So a new month to come, a new energy to discover, new parts of yourself to discover, to cherish, to express, and to love. So have a great week.